Welcome to the I Am a Woman podcast, a gathering place for women to discover their authentic selves in God. Here we deal with the whole woman, spirit, soul, and body. Enjoy today's episode. Well, hello, ladies, and welcome to the I Am a Woman podcast. I am your host, Teray Peoples, and I'm so glad that you have allowing me to be a part of your day today. So, listen, I'm so glad that you are here with me. Let's get into it. So, in today's podcast, y'all, let me tell you, I'm so excited about this podcast episode. I'm excited about all of them, but I'm really excited about this one. This one is something that's very near and dear to my heart. Today's topic, we're going to talk about know yourself. And it's going to be, we're going to hit on some things that you didn't think that we might hit on in this podcast, but we're going to talk about it because, like I said, we want this podcast to be a real podcast. We're dealing with the real issues. We're dealing with the whole woman. Okay, so we're going to get into it. But as always, I like to start off the podcast with one of three segments. It's either Teray's Take, which is my opinion about a current hot topic. I recommend, which is my opinion, what I want you to watch, whether that's like a TV show or a product or food or I don't know, website, anything that I recommend you go and check out. And then lastly, we have the Peeps. The Peeps is a story about either my husband, one of our four children, or all four of our children. So today we're going to start off with Peeps. But before we get into that, y'all, if you're watching and listen, if you're not watching this, I want you to head over to the I Am a Woman YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go on over there. Now listen. The I Am a Woman YouTube channel, it's I Am a Woman. It's highlighting my life, really. So like I have all kinds of things on there. I have previous podcast episodes from season 1 over there. I have Clean With Me's. I have vlogs over there. I have series, different things like that. I have a lot of things at the I Am a Woman YouTube channel. So I want you to go over and check that out. Okay, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Do all of those things. Join the fam so that we can continue to keep the momentum rolling about the I Am a Woman podcast. So let's get into this first segment. So I said I wanted to start off with this podcast off with a Peeps segment. So we're going to talk about my wonderful, wonderful family, y'all. Oh my goodness. My youngest daughter, Carrington, is such a character. Okay, she is the surprise that God knew we needed. Mind you, I didn't find out I was pregnant with Carrington until I think my son Princeton was 10 months old, but by the time I found out, I was already 8 weeks pregnant. And so that means she was conceived at 8 months when Princeton was 8 months old, and I was not here for it. I was so shocked, and I was just so Twitter pated about the whole thing. That is a whole nother podcast that we will have to do at a later time. But my Mookie, I call her Mookie. Her name is Carrington Alessandria Peoples. She is 10 years old. Once again, she is the surprise that God knew that we needed. And this little girl just absolutely has the most confidence and is so self-assured that I wish I was that self-assured at 20 years old. She knows who she is. She knows what she likes. She knows herself at 10. Now, she is not saying that, she's not perfect by any means. But she's a 10-year-old girl who is just confident in who she is. And I am doing everything that I can to ensure that I don't ever stunt that confidence, that I always encourage that confidence, that I'm looking for ways for her to continue to increase that confidence. I'm telling you, she is in a class of her own. She does not fit into anybody's mold, and she's going to get it done. When she puts her mind to do something, she gets it done. Now, she's the baby of the family, but she honestly believes that she can do everything that everyone does, and I know that she can. Period. I know that she can. My husband runs marathons. Carrington can run a marathon. Like, no joke, because she is just that. If daddy is running a marathon, I can run a marathon. And baby, yes, you can, right? I used to do a segment on Facebook called Morning Motivation. She went and created her own segment, and she would record it in her room. And I'm going to find a clip. I really need to find a clip of it. She called it Evening Motivation or something like that. It was whatever, and it was the cutest thing. It was the cutest thing, and she could do it, right? Her oldest sister is getting ready to graduate college. Okay, Elise is getting ready to graduate college. Elise will walk into her dorm room, and her roommate or her dorm mates or whoever this has happened will be on the phone with Carrington, talking to Carrington when Elise is walking into the room, because Carrington is friends with Elise's college friends. Like, and they're asking Elise, like, how come your sister's 10 is my 21? Like, Carrington, she fits in with the college students. Like, Elise, you at college, yeah, but I can make your friends can be my friends too, and they are. Let's see, Alyssa. Alyssa is the high jumper. Alyssa is the model. Alyssa has all of these things, but Carrington is just like, I like that. I'm gonna do that too. Watch out, Alyssa, because here come your little sister. Your little sister's coming for you, right? Then we have Princeton. Princeton is 17 months older than Carrington, and Carrington is not going to let him get away from her too fast or too soon, right? She is coming for her brother. Her brother got a brand new bike. She learned how to ride that bike before he learned how to ride the bike. She was riding his bike and he was still on the scooter. Y'all, Carrington is something else. But what I admire so much about her is the fact that she knows who she is. And I love that. I love it about her. She's so self-assured. She's so confident. She's self-aware. And that is going to lead us into what we're going to be talking about, our topic today, about knowing yourself. But as always, before we get into it, our mid podcast segments, we have 3. As you know, this podcast is set up. We are a gathering place for women to come and discover their authentic selves in God. And here we deal with the whole woman. We deal spirit, soul, and body. So today we're going to do kind of like a hodgepodge of 2 of those segments. It's going to be soul and body. So in the previous 2 episodes, we primarily focused on spirit. But in this episode, like I said, we're going to do a combination of soul and body. So let's go. Soul. In this segment, we will touch on one of 3 areas: your mind, which is the element of yourself that enables you to be aware of the world and your experiences; your will, which is the expression of your habitual behaviors; or your emotions. Your emotions are your natural and instinctive states of mind deriving from your circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. Our last segment of the podcast is body. This is referencing your physical stature. We will touch on areas such as physical, social, and environmental. So I want you to really take out some time. Don't just listen to this podcast, but I'm going to give you some homework from this podcast, okay? I want you to go and really write out the things that you recognize about yourself, those positive attributes, those negative attributes, those things that are good, those things that you need to work on, those things that you like, those things that you dislike. What are those? And go work on those, right? Or just acknowledge what those are, because I think sometimes we know ourselves, and so we just walk through the world as ourselves, and we're not really recognizing the good that we bring or even the bad that we're bringing. So like I stated before, we're not on the receiving end of ourselves, so we don't necessarily know how we're being perceived. We know how we're hoping that we're coming off, but because we're not on the receiving end, we don't know how people are receiving us. And so it's important that we become aware of how we're showing up in the world, and one way for us to do that is by knowing yourself, recognizing who you are. So it's important that you take out time to really discover and learn more about yourself. So in 2018, my mother passed away. My mother passed away September 2nd, 2018. That's a date that I will always remember. And the world just shifted for me. The world is not right without your mom in it. It's not right. And I really began to try to make sense of life again. I tried to make sense of what it is that I'm doing. Why do I like the things that I like? Why do I not like the things that I don't like? Um, was I not liking these things because I was told not to like them? All of these questions were going through my mind. And I really had to gain a better perspective of who I was. Um, there was an incident that happened when my mother passed away that just kind of shook me to my core, and it had me questioning a lot of who I was. And I had to take out some time. I had to get rid of all of the negative, surrounding that situation. I had to get rid of all of that. I had to move that aside. But then I had to really start focusing on who is Teray and getting to know me again, discovering why I am the way that I am. And so much was uncovered when I began to ask myself some of those questions. They're simple questions, but they are vital questions that you need to ask yourself. So I want you this week, in your private time, in your quiet time, to ask yourself, what do you like? What don't you like? Get to know yourself again. Take yourself out on a date. Take yourself to the movies. Take yourself to dinner. Take yourself to breakfast, whatever it is. Get dressed up and sit in your living room and watch your favorite movie. Do something for you. Recognize who you are. Take out time to get to know yourself, because it's so important that we listen to our bodies and give real attention to that. Listen, I am a wife. I am a mother of four. I am a business owner. I am a podcast host. I am all of these other things. The list can go on and on and on. And sometimes we ignore things that are going on with us, saying, oh, I'll address that later, and really not pay it any real attention, and then look up as time has gone on and we're just like, how did I get here? It was because we did not take out time to address the issue when it was an issue. We did not take out the time to really address it when it was happening. We just kind of put it on the back burner and said, oh, I'll get to it at some point. Well, some point keeps getting pushed back further and further back, and we're not really taking care of ourselves. So I told my husband, my birthday just passed. I turned 42, and I told my husband, I said, 42 is the year that I take care of me. And he said, okay, all right. And I was like, I'm really going to take care of myself this year. I'm not going to push back anything for anybody. I'm going to take care of Teray this year. Not that I wasn't doing the basic things, but I can honestly say I wasn't doing the deep dive that I know that I need in order for me to be the very best that I can be. So if you follow me on Instagram at all, if you have visited my website at teraypeoples.com, go ahead and go over there and check that out. Follow me on Instagram at teray.peoples. But on there, I talked about 2022. Optimize 2022. And what does it mean to optimize? It means to make the best and most effective use of a situation, opportunity, or resource, right? So we have been given the opportunity of life. We've been given the resource. We've been given the opportunity of living. There you go. And the resource of life. All right. It's important that we don't take that for granted. And how am I going to make the best and most effective use of this year that's been given to me? And how am I going to do that? One way that I'm doing it is by taking care of me. So we're going to look at some things. Okay. I pulled a couple of articles that I believe are going to really be helpful to you, because they were helpful to me. This information that I'm pulling from. So the first article I'm pulling from is from Good Therapy. Okay. It says that women experience certain biological, environmental, and psychological challenges related to gender, and these concerns can have a significant impact on mental health and well-being. These issues and many others are often able to be addressed in therapy with the help of a mental health professional. As I said earlier, that this segment was going to be a combination of the soul and body. Okay, so we're addressing our mental health as well as our physical health, right? So these issues and many others are often able to be addressed in therapy with the help of a mental health professional. And those issues were the biological, environmental, and psychological challenges, right? As I gotten older, I realized that there were just certain things that are out of whack. For a lack of a better term, out of whack. Your hormones start going crazy. Your body starts shifting, and things start, you're doing everything that you were doing before. You're eating the same foods that you were eating before. And now all of a sudden you don't put on 40 pounds and you're like, where did this weight come from? It's crazy how your life and your body just begins to shift and go crazy. And you're like, I'm not doing anything different. But these are just the different biological changes that happen, and you're like, hold up, what is going on? And it's so important for us to address those. And some of those are, yes, just, some things that we're getting older. Fine, I get that, and that's okay. But there are those things that, if given proper medical attention to, or psychological attention to, can be adjusted, right? If we go talk to the right professional, they can be adjusted. They can be improved upon. We don't have to just keep settling for these crazy things that are happening to our bodies. We don't have to keep settling. Now, we know this is a Woman of Faith podcast over here. We know that life and death is in the power of our tongue. We have to be cautious and very careful about what it is that we're saying and what we are taking ownership of. We have to stop saying, oh, well, this is just what happens because I'm getting older. No, 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 no. That's not what God intends for us. We know that by his stripes we are healed. I don't have to live with certain health issues just because mom and them had it. I don't have to live with certain mental and psychological breaks just because it runs in my bloodline. If I take authority over something, have the power and the authority to command it to move, to command it to leave. However, along with that, God has given us the gift. Somebody type in the comments, the gift, okay? Say to yourself, if you're riding in the car, the gift. God has given us the gift of medical and psychological professionals, period. They are gifts, and we need to acknowledge them as such. They can give us a different viewpoint, a different perspective. They can give us insight as to what is going on in our bodies. Because we are people of faith, going to a doctor or going to a therapist does not negate our faith. If anything, that increases our level of faith, because now the Bible says faith without what? Works is dead. If I know that something is going on in my body, I have faith enough to know that if I go to the doctor, I'm going to get some information that's going to help me. I'm going to apply the information, that's the works, and I'm going to believe God, the faith, that it's going to be better. I don't have to live this way. So we're going to put that into action in our lives, okay? So, let's see. Let me get back to it. Some mental and physical health concerns women face may be related to their gender. A study from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention found that not only are women more likely to experience mental health concerns such as depression and anxiety, women also experience mental distress at higher rates than men do in all age brackets. Y'all, if that right there does not encourage you to make sure that you are putting parameters in your life that decrease in stress, are not causing you to go through a lot of mental torment, like whatever is not serving you well, let's remove it. Now, that might sound like a no-brainer, but y'all, we don't always do that. We don't always remove the things that cause us stress. Sometimes, once again, our confession, we hold on to it because we just assume like, oh, that's just what we're supposed to do. No, ma'am, that's not what we're supposed to do. No, we're not supposed to have that. Let's do something different. We don't have to live that way. Like God said in the word, the Bible says that Jesus came that we would have life and have it more abundantly. Living in stressful environments and situations does not bring about the abundant life. No, it doesn't. It's going to decrease your life. I'm looking for my life to be I'm looking for longevity. There you go. I'm looking for longevity in my life. I'm looking for those things that are going to speak well of me, things that are going to feed me. I'm looking for my body to continue to go as long as it possibly can and limit the amount of stress that I have to take in the process. Okay, so let's do that. Let's pay attention to our bodies, ladies. Okay, so here's the other one. Another article. Now, listen, this is coming from Dr. Caroline Leaf. If you do not know who Dr. Caroline Leaf is, she is amazing. She is phenomenal. Dr. Caroline Leaf is a Christian neuroscientist. This woman is the for real deal Holyfield. Okay, she also has a podcast, or she did have a podcast. I don't know if it's still up, but I know you can find it on YouTube, and she's amazing. But this comes from an article that she wrote August 25th, 2021. It talks about how sexual health and mental health are connected and what we should be talking about in sex education. I think this is another area within the body of Christ that we don't talk about enough, especially for women. And it's important that we do it because many have been suffering in silence, and it's not okay. We have to stop allowing ourselves to suffer in silence. That is not okay. All right. Now, let me get off my soapbox for a minute. I believe that one of the reasons why God gave me this podcast, he said to Ray, I need to create a platform that addresses the whole woman. Once again, spirit, soul, and body. Your spirit. We are a spirit living in a human fleshly body possessing a soul. Okay. We are spirit. That is the core of who we are. Our soul. Our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. That is so important. They're all connected. Why you do what you do, why you think the way that you think affects how you behave. Your mind, your will, and your will is your behavior. Your emotions. You're fearful. Are you scared? Are you happy? Are you sad? Your emotions, you're frustrated. All of that, it plays into it, right? And we need to address all of that. But then your body, your physical body, your health of that physical body. How are you feeling? And that also includes your sexual health, right? And it's important that we understand that we are sexual beings. God created us that way, and we have to find places that provide us the information that we need regarding that so that we can be whole. Okay, we want to be a whole woman. We are whole. We don't want to be fractured and broken and missing pieces. I have 3 daughters. Another reason why, that I started this podcast is because of my 3 daughters. I have 3 daughters, and I refuse. I repeat, I refuse. I'm going to say it again. I refuse to have my daughters walking around as confused as I was. That's not going to happen. Okay. There was so much that I knew that was bad information and very little of the good information did I know. Huh? How many of y'all can agree with that? It's important that we give our daughters right, healthy information regarding their sexual health. When it comes time, giving them all of the right information. Y'all, we need to give them the right information. So let me stop my soapbox again and get down to the article. All right, so this was from the podcast episode number 311 with Dr. Caroline Leaf, and her guest at the time was Dr. Sherry Ross. Okay, sexual health is not something you should be hiding. I'm going to say that again. Sexual health is not something we should be hiding. It is something we should be open and honest about because it plays such an important role in our lives and mental well-being. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Did you hear that? Okay. It plays such an important role in our lives and mental well-being. As Dr. Sherry points out, our sexual health is often a barometer for our mental health. Oh, to my frustrated wives out there, maybe this is the part where you look. Maybe you start looking here first. Oh, listen, let me give you an opportunity. I'm giving you an opportunity to say, that's me. That's me. Look. Hit me up in my DMs, okay? Go to my Instagram, Teray.people, at Teray.peoples. Hit me up my Instagram if this is you, okay? Desire is the most important thing when it comes to sexual health. It is the foundation of a good sex life. Yet, our mental health can have a dramatic effect on our desire for sex, especially if we are battling with issues like depression and anxiety. Sexual wellness and mental wellness go together. That is from the podcast from Dr. Caroline Leaf, with guest host Dr. Sherry Ross. She's a woman health expert. Listen, it is so important that we pay attention and know who we are. Pay attention to all parts of your body. The one thing that I want us to understand is that we are God created beings. If something is out of whack, whether that is hormonal imbalance, whether that is a mental imbalance, whether that is a sexual health issue, getting to know yourself is God's desire. Like, he wants us to know who we are. He says, in all you're get an understanding. And this is who he created us to be. Why would he give us the ability to do something and then not give us the opportunity to learn about what that something is? We need to pay more attention to it. So in this podcast, I know this podcast is going a little bit longer than it's supposed to, but I like I told y'all at the beginning of the podcast, I was excited about it because I want to provide the opportunity for all of those who have been suffering in silence a place to say and identify and say, okay, that's me. I have been ignoring myself. I have not been giving myself the proper time and attention that I need. I have not gone and sought out the support of a therapist that I know that I'm battling with these mental issues. And I felt like I was lacking faith. I want to cancel out that lie. I also want to let you know that there's nothing wrong with you if you have a sexual desire, that your sex drive might be more than your spouse's is, or there is nothing wrong with you. That's not sinful. You're not being lustful. Like, listen, we're going to cancel out I want to cancel out all the lies. And listen, once again, we humble, open, and transparent over here. We are hot. This is a hot podcast. It's necessary. I gave you the titles of those articles, and I'll leave them down. I'll link them down in the show notes if you're listening. It'll also be in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. I'm going to give you all that information because I want you to go back and do some additional research. Now, look, this is just high level view. This is a high level view of these issues, but now we've started the conversation. Now that the conversation is started, sis, let's get into the conversation. Okay, have the conversation. Start doing the things. Start going out and finding the information that you know that you need in order to get to know yourself. So don't forget your homework. Write down those things that you recognize about yourself, good and bad. Write down the things that you feel like you can improve on. Write down the things that you think that you're pretty good at. Write down your likes and your dislikes. Put all of that together. And then let's continue the conversation. So if you have not already, follow me on Instagram at Teray.Peoples. Visit me on my website, TerayPeoples.com. All of the things, make sure if you're listening to this, you rate it, you give it all of the good stuff. And also follow me on YouTube. Go to the I Am a Woman YouTube channel and just see all the things about being a woman over there. Okay. So that's all that I have for you today. This was such a good episode. I'm so glad that you took out some time to join me today. As always, remember, if no one has told you, I love you. I'm praying for you, and I'm believing the Lord for the very best for your life. I will see you in my next episode. Bye.